2 years ago, I created my first piece of content to try to get more clients for my business. Nothing more than that. Fast forward to this week, and I was flown out, all expenses paid, hotels, flights, Ubers to San Francisco by Adobe to attend an incredible event about the future of AI, all because of the content I started creating, which is crazy. Because when I first started creating content, I never did it for the purpose of getting brand deal sponsorships or getting flown out to events like this. That wasn't even on my radar. The reason I started creating content was because I was so sick and tired of sending cold DMs, hundreds of them a day, to people that didn't want to hear from me, going on sales calls with unqualified people who told me to F off more times than I can count. And I was just so sick and tired of trying to scrape away to get clients that I thought there needed to be a better way. So I tried content creation. And what I've learned over the past couple of years is that if you really commit to creating content as an entrepreneur, there are so many opportunities that you can't even imagine that just come your way. And as someone who's been creating content for almost 2 full years now, has gotten millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers, in this video, I really want to break down the 3 biggest unseen benefits of creating content that I think every entrepreneur needs to know. And these are things no one told me about when I first started, but have completely transformed not only my business, but also my life. And trust me, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to hear this. Number 1, when you start to create content and start getting attention, the opportunities that just get thrown your way are ridiculous. And these aren't just small deals or one-off gigs. Like, you will just start getting money thrown at you. Like, when I first started creating content, I didn't even think about brand deals or sponsorships. I was just doing it purely just to get more clients. And then when I started getting more attention, I started getting 10,000, 100,000 views on my videos, brands started to, approach me and be like, hey, if you post about this video, we'll give you $500, we'll give you $1,000. And it was nice because, it was extra bit of money coming in each month. And then it went from a 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 for like a 30-second video to I got all the way up to charging $7,000 for a 30-second video, which is mind-blowing to me. And the best part was I didn't have to come to them. They all just come to me. And now every single day when I check my email, when I check my Instagram DMs, there is some brand hitting me up being like, hey, we love your content. We love you to do a post for us. How much do you charge? Or can you do a post for this amount? Like, these opportunities just come by the tenfold when you start creating content. And then there's the experiences like this, where I'm getting flown out to San Francisco, which has always been a dream location for me to visit. And my hotel's taken care of. My flight was taken care of. My Ubers were taken care of. I got to go and meet a ton of cool creators, and I got to meet the people at Adobe. And again, they fed us very well too, and go to all these events. It was just this crazy experience that I would have never had ever if I just didn't start posting, that first piece of content. But it's not just the brands and the events. As an entrepreneur, every single day I have people DMing me about my services, about my products, about my mentorships. And these people, they've just seen my content for such a long time where it's like, yeah, I'm bought into you. I know exactly what you do. You're the guy. I've seen your content enough. Like, I want to work with you. And it is just so easy to close people when you just have a presence out there. Like, again, when I first started doing this, I started because I just hated jumping on sales calls with like people who didn't know me, because I'm just not a naturally salesy person. So like, me having to use all these sales tactics to try to convince them to pay thousands of dollars when they have no idea who I am. And they probably couldn't care less. Like, I just hated jumping on those calls every single day. I didn't like doing cold outreach. I didn't like doing cold DMs. I just felt like I was bugging people. And now I'm at a point where every time I jump on a call with someone, it never feels like a sales call. Like, if I jump on a call with someone now, it's a conversation, trying to see and trying to understand how I can help them out, or if they're a good fit for our program. And it really is just a simple conversation. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, great. Sounds like you're a good fit. Here's a price for it. Are you in or are you out? Like, that's to the point where I'm at. And that leads me to the second unseen benefit, which is when you start creating content and you have a presence online, it is 1,000 times easier to close clients and just close customers. One of the biggest mental shifts I had was realizing that content can do 90% of the selling for me, right? When I create the right type of content, people know who I am, they know how I can help them, They know my offer. They know the features, the benefits. They know everything, right? I can display that through all of my content. So finally, when they're ready to buy, it's not even like a sales. Like they're already kind of bought in. I just got to tell them the price. And if they have the budget, boom, they become a client. And also, one of the other biggest things that content does is that transfer of trust. You know, at the end of the day, people buy from people. They're not buying for a certain product or anything, especially if it's an info product or a digital product. They're usually buying because of the person selling the product, because they bought into that person, because they relate to that person, and they also trust that person. It is very hard to install trust when you're jumping on a sales call with a person for the first time and you're trying to sell something. You know, this person has never met you before. But when you create content, you have this library of content, you know, people can watch you for hours, like 10 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours. And in fact, there is a stat by Google that'll pop up here that says the average consumer usually has to watch about an average, I believe it's 7 hours of footage, interact with your brand about 11 times, and do so across like 4 different social media platforms. So that can only be done through content. You can't do that if you're trying to like cold sell people or run ads, you know. That can only be done through content. And that's where that transfer of trust comes from, because they've seen you across different platforms, you know, Instagram, TikTok, email, school, if you have your own community. And they just watched you over and over, where they know you, they know how you talk, they know your style. They feel like, you know, if you go out to grab a coffee with them, you would be no different, right? They know exactly what to expect. And that just instills that transfer of trust. And that's why it is so much easier to close people when you create content, because you don't have to do that from the jump like you would if you were jumping on a random sales call with just someone you never met before. And if you can't tell by now, I hate sales calls, and I'm so happy I really don't have to jump on them anymore. In fact, I was able to close a guy in my DMs for one of our programs for $5,000. He literally asked about my one-on-one mentorship, and I literally told him, hey, it's $5K, this is the price for it. And he literally said to me, that's a steal, I'm in. Imagine that. Imagine saying to someone the first time you ever talk to them in the DMs, not even over a call, you pitch them a $5,000 price tag and they say that's a steal. You will never get that if you don't create content. You will never get that. Like, that was crazy to me. When that was done, I was like, holy shit. Oh my God, like this just changed the game for me. Like, I don't even have to jump on sales calls anymore. In fact, I try to exclusively sell in the DMs, and it's working. Because again, people have just seen me so much time after time. They know exactly who I am. They know what I offer. And it's just become like, if you can't tell, like, oh my God, it has become so ridiculously easy to close people. Like, I love it. That's the only way I could put it. All right, let's get into the third unseen benefit. I know I kind of rambled on there. But the third unseen benefit that creating content gives you is purely just the networking opportunities, which has been one of the most surprising and rewarding parts of this entire journey. I've been able to connect with some of the biggest people like in this space, in the business space, like people that are making millions of dollars, not just a year, but per month. I've been able to connect with them. I've been able to befriend them. And I've been able to, I think one of the best things is just learn from them. You know, they are 10, 20 steps ahead of me. And instead of paying them, you know, $10,000 to $20,000 for their help, I can simply just hit them up and ask them. And it helps me, it helps my business scale up faster. And it is one of the best parts about having a presence online and being able to connect with people. And here's the thing, content is almost like your handshake to the world. When you share valuable, insightful content, that attracts high-level people. And now you're no longer, you know, just another entrepreneur. You're someone worth paying attention to. For example, a few months ago, I went on a podcast that now some of my biggest idols have been on, and the fact that I've been on it too is still crazy to me. But I was invited onto this podcast because of the content, again, I created. And after I filmed the podcast, there was this guy who is probably worth, if I had to guess, like 9 to 10 figures. And I will put that number on the screen so you can see how much money, you know, the guy possibly is worth. And he hit me up and he saw the podcast and he liked how authentic I was. He understand and he saw my expertise. And now we're working with them. Like, he's actually like one of my clients. And I would have never signed this guy if I sent him a cold DM, a cold email or anything. It was purely because I put content out And because I put content out, I was invited onto this podcast to, again, meet a bunch of cool people. And then from the podcast, he saw me, my expertise. We jumped on a call. Again, wasn't even really a sales call. We just jumped on a call, see how we could possibly help him out. And now we're working with him, which is literally a dream client. Like anyone would dream to have this guy. And we were able to sign him, all because of the content, which is, again, I've been saying a lot, which is ridiculous still. I'm still in disbelief. And the great thing about building all these connections and having all these network opportunities is that it's kind of a domino effect and just leads to more. You know, when you connect with one person, they connect you with another person, they connect with another person. And I'm kind of at this point where for anyone in the online space, I'm like one person away. Like I know someone who knows them where I could possibly get an introduction. And again, I'll say it again, it only happens when you start creating content, you start to become not just another entrepreneur, but someone worth listening to and someone who has given out value and people see it as a credible and an authoritative person. So to recap, the 3 biggest unseen benefits of creating content that I've seen is, number 1, when you start having a following and having a presence, again, opportunities just flood your way. Like people are just going to start throwing money at you and it just happens and it comes from every corner of the earth, every single brand, any industry. You just get flown with money when you start creating content. Second, it gets ridiculously easy to start closing clients and customers because there's already that transfer of trust. They already know you, they like you, they trust you. So you don't have to establish that. So it's really easy to close clients and customers. And then third, again, it's just the networking opportunities, the people you're able to meet, the people that want to meet you too. That's another big thing. A lot of people reach out to want to meet me because I've just created content for so long and I've given out such valuable content where they're like, hey, let me take you out. Let me buy you a coffee. I want to pick your brain. So it's not only just, you meeting a lot of cool people, it's a ton of people that also want to meet you too. So if you're an entrepreneur or business owner and you haven't started creating content yet, first, what are you doing? And second, make this your sign to start. Creating content isn't about, getting 1,000 likes on a vid or going viral or becoming famous in your local town. It's about building a long-lasting brand, creating freedom, and really unlocking opportunities that could completely transform your life. And if you're an entrepreneur or business owner and you want to start, but you have no idea where to begin, just DM me the word unseen on Instagram. My handle is @onlyzito. You can also find the link to it in the description. And I'll reach out and I'll chat to see how we can possibly help you get started creating content for your business. Thanks for watching. And remember, the best time to create content was yesterday. The second best time is today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.